Yay, everybody who's going to be catching the replay. This was not a scheduled live. I just actually got dressed today. And I didn't want to waste the outfit. So I was like, oh, I haven't done one of these vertical lives in a while. And I had notes for things that I was going to talk about. I was going to share some, like, kind of, I don't know if they're unpopular opinions, but just things that I've never voiced that I'm like, I want to talk about it. But then as I sat down, I realized that I just wasn't in the mood. I was like, I feel like there's something else I want to talk about. What should it be? And then I realized, so much in my perspective on how I view my mom has evolved. So, for anybody who's been around, who knows me personally, who's been following my social media journey for a while, my Instagram first blew up back in, was it 2020, 2021? I think it was 2021, because I was making a lot of very candid content about my experience with my mother, who had passed away. She died in 2016, and she was a narcissist. And at that time, in early 2021, I know it's hard to believe, but if you could imagine a time before narcissist was a buzzword, and gaslighting and all these things. And so I was just making very candid content about how I didn't forgive her and how I think I probably even said in some of them, like, I hate her. Um, and I just really talked about what she did. And I would just get so many comments and DMs like, wow, this is really refreshing. I've always felt like such a bad person for saying these things or feeling these ways. People try to make me feel guilty. They always say, but that's your mom. And just built a really big community around that. And it was very cathartic for me. I even have a video here on YouTube where I read out loud a letter. A person that I was seeing at the time to kind of help me through some issues, suggested that I write a letter to my mom. And I think once or twice, maybe I had written one over the years in the past, and it took me a long time to write it. Um, how do I block you? Um, Sorry, distracted. Inappropriate comment. But anyway, so distracted. So I had written it a few times, but I felt like, hi. I felt like I was too polite. I felt like I was too polite, like I didn't say all the things that I wanted to say. And so when I finally got gut level honest, I wrote that letter, and that's what you'll find on my channel somewhere. And it's called, like, a letter to my dead narcissistic mom. And it's just very raw. It's just very raw. And making all of that content and building the community and hearing a lot of you guys' stories has been very healing. And then I transitioned into talking about another group of people that had oppressed me and made my life hell. And that was the cult, the ICOC. And so Asha and I make content about that. I do that and a whole bunch of other things. But I realized that I have not shared any updates on how it's going in my perspective with my mom. So like I said, she passed away back in 2016. I became a mom in 2018. I left my career that was, like, basically the only one I'd known. I left the cult. I've since gotten separated, and there have just been all of these major life changes without my mom being here. And it can be bittersweet because on one hand, it's like, man, my mom's not here. Man, my mom never met my son. Man, like, I don't get to have these interactions with my mom. Like, I don't get to have her as a sounding board to think about, like, do I want to leave my ex? Do I not? But, all these things, or I'm having a hard time. Um, or even to, oh man, I was not expecting to get emotional. Um, but just certain things, even now with co-parenting, where I can get, like, what's the word? Like, overstimulated or tired, or just seeing another side of life that's really hard. And I'm not making excuses for my mom. There are so many things that she did and said that are inexcusable. They're not okay. And even the fact that she could never really apologize, like I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's, so many people post and talk about how they had the talks with their mom, saying like, "Mom, you were right." And if she were here, I don't even know if I would want to give her that, honestly. And that's one of the things that I wanted to touch on is this phenomenon of romanticizing, what's it called? Like deifying, sanctifying, idealizing the dead, you know? Like because they're gone, they automatically turn into this angel figure that you can't speak ill of. And I wanted so badly not to do that. Hi. Oh, look at all those emojis. That's fun. I wanted so badly not to do that. I wanted so badly to remember the truth and the reality. And I think I do a lot, which is a very complicated feeling where there are times that I feel like, man, I miss my mom. Man, I wish I could call my mom. And I have to realize, like, even if, even if I got 2 minutes of compassion out of her, even if I got 2 minutes of an appropriate mother daughter interaction, she's going to say something crazy. Or later, she would come back and throw this in my face. And I have to remember that. I find the longer she's gone from this world, this realm, the easier it is for me to forget, which is fine in a sense. I don't want to just walk around carrying memories of hurt and anger and shame and neglect and bitterness. I think properly placed bitterness, but like I said, I think through forming this community with you all and making all the content, I feel like I expressed even creatively, making all those short little reels and things like that. Like that's a creative outlet. It's a form of art. And I feel like it's purged me a lot. Like I've dealt with a lot of that. Um, but in that, it's like I have less and less touch with the reality that was. And that, does it scare me? It's an interesting experience because I think because I've dealt with a lot of like the yucky stuff, the evil stuff. Um, I can remember the good. I can remember the good that came from it. I can appreciate I can appreciate the lessons I learned in spite of her. I can appreciate the lessons I learned because I had to survive her. I think because I had the experience of surviving her and clawing my way out of her house and learning how to fill out FAFSA on my own in college and getting scrappy and resourceful. That's that same like and kind of the boundary, the practice I had with like boundaries with her and realizing like, wow, no one's coming to save me, not even my mom. That's the same kind of resolve that got me out of the cult. That's the same kind of resolve that helped me to separate from my marriage, and endure some of those challenges and interactions that have happened along the way with various people. Like I'm able to, yeah, the cult, the ICOC, International Churches of Christ. I have lots of content about it on my page. But and I had a dream. It was early 2023, early last year. And I don't know what you believe about dreams and visits and things like that. But I've had dreams with my mom in them before. And it just felt like subconscious psychobabble, like my subconscious, my brain, my emotions, this just working some stuff out. But this particular dream, it was different. Like my mom did a double take. She was in the dream. She did a double take, and it's like she was surprised that I could see her. And she looked teary-eyed, and all she said was, "I didn't do it to be mean. I did it because you were too nice." And I didn't get it. I didn't This was like last February, I think. February, March. I didn't understand. And it wasn't honestly until maybe a month or 2 ago that I was like, "Oh." 'Cause I think I can be very naive and trusting by default, and sensitive soul. I don't enjoy conflict. I don't you which may surprise people. I think it surprises people because of the way that I can speak up for certain matters, but I don't enjoy it. And it's some of the decisions I've had to make, some of the ways that I've had to change my thinking and the ways that I operate. I'm like, and then even having to clue in to who I had to be with my mom and who I had to be to survive and escape her, and tapping back into that portion of myself and learning to see the her and other people and treat it similarly. And it clicked like, she didn't do it to be mean. She did it because I was too like, I needed to be prepared. And I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew. I think God, the universe, whatever you want to, you know, attribute that to, that there was this knowing. There was this knowing and this preparation for the road that I was going to face, that the world is it's a hard, cold place. And me with the hole in my heart from my mom going into this cult, I would need I would need to not be so nice. I would need to not be so trusting. I would need to not be so soft and sensitive. Um, and so yeah, I think I will often say now that I feel like I have two moms. There is the mom who was here with me, who raised me in physical form and was my first and biggest and most influential bully for sure. You can scroll way, way, way back to my old Instagram content um, to see some of the things that she has said and done, and even that is just like scratching the surface. But there's her. And now I think that I've lived some more life. I feel like I have almost like a spiritual version of my mom. You know how people say, like, your loved ones, they never leave you, they never leave you. I feel like that mom, like the mom who prepared me, even though there's a zillion ways that you can instill confidence in your child. There's a zillion ways that you could help them to become resilient and assertive and confident and yeah, all the things besides being a piece of crap. Hey friend, thanks. Um, but for me, this is my story. I don't love that I experienced that, but I can see what purpose it served in my life. I would never say it didn't kill me, it made me stronger. Like, it definitely has dysregulated the ever loving whatever out of my nervous system. It definitely placed a lot of obstacles in my path that I had to overcome. It definitely, as so someone asked, what cult? The International Churches of Christ, the ICOC, which is closely affiliated to the ICC, which is now splitting to be the Restored Church Worldwide. If you go to my profile, you'll see one playlist called ICOC series and one called the Cultured Community. But that was my story. That was my experience. And because of that, you're welcome. Thank you for stopping by and for asking. I feel like I can do anything. A lot of times you guys may see me in some of my content wearing a ring. It'll be on this hand, typically my middle finger. It's a dolphin ring. It was my mom's. Um, it was my mom's. And I don't have many memories of her not wearing that. And she gave it to me. So she looked like she was getting sick for several years before she passed away. Whenever I would ask her about it, she would get mad at me. She would try to gaslight me like I didn't know what I was looking at. I'm fine, Nikita. I'm fine. Okay. Then all of a sudden, one day I went down because I moved out of state. I went back to my home state. My sister was getting married. My mom and I think this was that trip. I think my mom and I went to lunch and she takes the ring off and slides it across the table. And she was like, "Here, I want you to have this." Now, this is while I can see that she's not looking well. She's dropping weight like crazy. Like it's not looking good. But when I ask her, she's not giving me any information. So I know something's not right, but I don't know what it is. But I want the truth, but I'm kind of enjoying living in like delusion land. I was 20 23, 24 at this time. And so she takes it off, she slides it across the table. I was like, "No, mom, keep it. It's yours. It's yours. Why are you doing that?" And she's like, "No, I want you to have it. You're rising. I'm falling." Okay, drama, theatrics. What is that about? Um, yeah. But so it makes me feel I just wear it when I feel like I want some of her brazen energy, some of her brazen spirit to remember her. Also, I've been finding I've not like all at once, but over the years, listening to different songs that I have memories with her and those songs. I have lots of memories associated with like singing and dancing with my mom or watching her sing. Or she was a very lively woman, as actually a lot of narcissists can be if they're not necessarily covert. Very charming, life of the party. Lots of people who are not like under their reign love them. And that's part of what makes it very difficult when you want to share. Like, so when my friends would be like, "Your mom seems so cool." And I was like, Anyway. And so going back to listen to some of these songs just for nostalgia, but a lot of the themes of them are like persevere, don't give up, one more day, you can do this, you don't know the path ahead, it's leading you somewhere great. And they're not all like gospel songs either. So it's just I'll go to listen thinking, "Oh, this was a fun song." And then before I know it, I'm in tears. I'm in tears because so much of it, again, it's like, wow, all of the songs that I remember her playing over and over and over. It's like, I don't know, like it was preparing me. And then I listen now and it's like, it's coming back at just the right time. So it's really a disorienting feeling. It's really a disorienting feeling. But now that, again, I've sorted through and kind of word vomited all of the like disgusting, terrible, shocking, heartbreaking things that I endured at her hands and watched my sister endure at her hands, and that fog is lifted, that I can see some of the other messaging. But I am still grateful because grateful that she's gone. I would fear so much before even thinking about having kids. I would fear whenever I have a baby, what kind of relationship am I going to allow her to have with this child or those children? Because I will lose it if I ever find out that she has made my future child or children feel anything similar to the way that she ever made me or my sister feel. Like, I will lose it. So the fact that she passed away before my son was born, before I even got pregnant, while it was sad, it was also just very much a relief. It was a relief. Like, okay, that's one decision I don't have to make. And then I don't have her or anybody else making me feel guilty for not allowing her to have access to my child or children. Yeah. So while it's sad, it's also a huge, huge relief. But before I go, I did want to talk about, I don't know, for anybody who was here at the beginning, I had like a list of things that I wanted to say today on live, but I just sat down and was like, I don't want to talk about that. I'll talk about my mom. But one of the things that I wanted to say, I feel like does correlate with what I've been saying about my mom and how I've been moving on. And that is that I think, in my opinion, my experience, that forcing yourself to forgive could be prolonging your forgiveness. So, excuse me. In a lot of Christian spaces, it's like, forgive, forgive, forgive. You got to forgive. You got to, if you don't forgive, you won't be forgiven. Forgive. Don't be bitter. Don't be bitter. First of all, bitterness is an appropriate response to certain things. Okay. It's appropriate. It doesn't mean you have to stay bitter. But somebody comes and slaps you in the face and someone tells you, don't dwell on how your face hurts. It hurts. I just got slapped. So if somebody treats you a certain way for years, or if you've been given a mother and they act like your biggest obstacle, an enemy, or you join a religious group or a self-help group and they drain you of your energy, your self-confidence, and your money, and they isolate you from anyone else who ever cared about you, I would say bitterness is a very appropriate response. But hear me out. I think that for trying to force yourself to forgive, like, I need to be more forgiving. God help me forgive. I need to forgive. Can I forgive them? Can I forgive them? It's like saying, don't think about a pink elephant. You're going to think about a pink elephant. Trying to always force yourself to forgive. I think there's an element of self-gaslighting in there. Maybe not for everyone, but the way that I've seen it practice and the way that people talk about it, it doesn't sound good. Whereas for me, I stopped elevating forgiveness as this character and moral zenith peak, right? This thing to be attained, like, oh, if only I could just forgive everyone who ever screwed me over, I'd be so enlightened. No. And when I stopped obsessing over that, I don't know if I've forgiven these people. Maybe I haven't, but I don't think about them anymore. Whereas when I was in a place in life and subscribing to this belief that I had to forgive, it's like I was so obsessed with having to forgive that I kept rehashing and rethinking about the things that were said to me, the things that were done to me, the things that weren't said and that weren't done that I thought should have been. And it's like I couldn't let it go. But when I stopped forcing myself to forgive, I stopped thinking about those people altogether. Or even with my mom, that I stopped forcing myself to forgive her and view her as this maternal gift to me. Oh my God, she brought you into the world. Aren't you so grateful? It took years, but I have so many more years of life ahead of me that now I have this peace and I'm able to see what she did and what she said, the neglect, the abuse. And I don't feel that anger. I don't feel that deep, deep despair. I don't feel everything that I felt before. I don't cry at memories of things that she said and did to me anymore. There'll be times maybe I'll remember something. It's typically when I remember things she said or did to my sister or my dad more than myself. But yeah, and then even with certain people in the cult, no, I wasn't forcing myself to forgive them. And some of the people that I hear about more often, like the Kit McKeens, the Mike Pattersons, Ed Anton, like just so much going on. Because they're so public and stuff keeps happening, it keeps kind of adding fuel to the fire. But I don't think about them like that all the time, because I have decentered them and I have centered my own joy, my own growth, my own self-love and self-care, my son and my friends, you guys having fun and making content, which is also a form of like fun and self-care for me. This is high. That's weird. Um, sorry. Just noticed that. Um, and so it's not taking up so much space in my brain because I'm not trying to force this forgiveness. Let it go. Let it go. Um, and so I would just throw that out there, that all of this focus and centering around forgiveness could actually be stalling your ability to let it go. Why don't you just feel your feelings? Just feel your feelings, acknowledge the truth for what it is, build your life apart from that the way that you want it to be if you're able, because getting away is a privilege. It can get so complicated, it can get so dangerous, it can get so scary. I don't want to minimize that, but I find that's what helps with forgiveness. Why? Because you'll be so happy and content. You'll feel protected. You'll feel uplifted. You'll feel fulfilled, that it will be no benefit. It will be no benefit just walking around thinking about how these people hurt you. And is that forgiveness or is it just resolve? I don't know, but it's a lack of bitterness, the yucky feelings. And that's all I want. That's all I want for me. That's all I want for anybody else who's been through anything similar to what I've been through, is to just be able to have peace. That's all I want. I don't want revenge. I don't want, I just want to be left alone. I want to be happy. And so to circle back to the initial topic of the update with my mom, I do feel way, way more at peace. I think I can be nervous at the thought of sanctifying her. But the way that I mostly describe it now is I just feel like I have two moms. I feel like I have the mom who was here with me and did and said all those unspeakable things. It's kind of my origin story, and to prepare me, to fortify me, even though I hate it had to be that way. Then I feel like there's kind of this universe spiritual guiding presence of my mom, who always kind of knew that I would need to be able to dig down deep, and she dropped these little breadcrumbs throughout my life. And I like to think that she is watching me and cheering for me and looking out for me on that end the way she's able to now, that she wasn't able to when she was here because of whatever she was battling. And that's another thing that I kind of touched on earlier. Um, Again, just as I experience more life, I'm able to relate to her more and feel for her more. So my dad was in the military. He was gone a lot. Um, And so for a lot of times, it's like she was a single mom, a co-parenting mom. My dad was very active, very supportive. He sent money. He was very involved when he was here, but he was just gone a lot, and she's here and having to deal with two bickering girls. And who knows what else? I don't know what else. I don't know what other struggles she had, but there are just certain times when things happen and I feel like, "Oh, mom, I get it." And I can get afraid of being like her. I think the one thing that I do try to do is make sure that I apologize. That I apologize. Um, I try to do and say the things that I wish had been said and done for me. So, like, if I'm hangry, I'll let my son know, like, "Hey, this is not a you thing. I'm gonna be a little grumpy till I get some food, but I'm not mad at you. You are being perfect. You're amazing. I'm just grumpy. I need to eat. Like, can you just give me a minute? I'm sorry." And let him know when things are not his fault. Um, but yeah, I think there's a lot of that But again, so it's just so complicated. It's just so messy. It's so nuanced because again, while I can relate and empathize, it still stands like as long and as enduring and as calculated as some of her stuff was. Like, it's like, I'm not her, and what she did was not okay. But in those moments, I'm able to see some of how she could have said or done some of the things. And I think I can feel sad for her that therapy or mental health was not more prevalent. However, she was a boomer and a narcissist. So even in this age, she probably, if she were still here, would not be going to therapy, would not be allowing herself to be held accountable. How do I know this? I have plenty of other women her age and similar demeanor to look at and be like, but I wish she would have had it then. Do I? And so these are the thoughts that I have going back and forth in my mind because there are young narcissistic moms now, and they just, they are the perpetual victim. Anyway, I have not many conclusions, but I did just want to come and give an update. Especially for the OGers who came and the angry Nikita, F my mom. My mom's evil. I hate her. We're exposing all the moms, all the other narcissistic parents and caregivers. And sometimes I may mention her in some of the content, and it will be in a bit more of a softened or appreciative manner. And this is why I think, because I've learned a lot. And since she's gone, and there's no re-injury, the wounds have had time to kind of like mend and heal a bit because she's not here to be continually re-injuring, re-insulting. And so I think that allows for some of that reflection and softness as well. So for any of you guys still in the battle, if you are no contact, stay strong. Don't get hoovered back in. Hopefully I'll have some time to make a short video this week about hoovering. Yeah, stay strong. You're not crazy. You deserve love. You deserve to stay close to people who feel like sunshine. Don't accept the word salad. It's a bunch of nonsense. So I guess that's it, guys. Thank you for spending time with me. Thanks for watching this. If you want to leave a comment about how things are going with your narcissist, leave a comment. If that's not safe, you can hit me up in my email, hello@nikitalambert.com. Or you can just like, so that other people can find this and maybe be helped. Sometimes it's just helpful to hear other people who are going through something similar. And if it's not helpful for anyone else, like I said, this has been very, very helpful and cathartic for me. So I am grateful for all of you guys being on this journey with me and sharing your journeys with me. I love hearing how things are unfolding for all of you as well. And that's it. Till next time, stay safe and stay free, because every day is a good day to not be in a cult.